Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video we'll be talking about a historic blizzard that will be going on across the mountains of in the plains of Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, portions of South Dakota. Tons of rain across Kansas, Missouri, the Ozark region, the Texarkana area could see some rain and potentially severe weather, and also the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. Just a massive, large-scale system that will go down into history for sure. And I'm not just overhyping this because of as a YouTube weather fanatic, right? We have that reputation of doing that. The National Weather Service is making it very clear. This is a historic, crippling system. You could see a historic storm with extreme impacts possible. A major, potentially crippling winter storm is forecast. So this is not some overhyped stuff I'm giving you to. All right. Before we get into this, guys, if you guys enjoy these videos, enjoy this content type of information about the weather, consider subscribing, consider joining. Obviously, if this is your first time watching, get familiar with the channel first and then consider doing that. All right, let's start talking about this. So if you recall, in February, I was saying that March systems, and really it's every year, March and spring, April, May systems, they have a lot of energy to work with, a lot of potential, and they often become big systems and gnarly beasts. And if you're to look at some of the snowfall amounts associated with this, they are truly stunning. There could be the biggest snowfall ever recorded across portions of Wyoming. Cheyenne could be breaking records. Let's take a look at the snowfall forecast for these locations. I will, by the way, be going over the rainfall and severe weather threat in just a minute. But look at this. Weekend winter storm, right? 24 to 30 inches, so of 2 feet, 2.5 feet across Garrett, Wheatland, Laramine, Cheyenne, potentially up to 30 inches. I don't know what your record is. I was looking at a graph yesterday. I think that there's different classifications. There's a 1-day snowstorm at a certain accumulation, 2-day snowstorm. This will be a pretty prolonged event. I think your record is around 28 something inches, but you could see that winter storm severity extreme. They don't often issue this at all, and once they do, especially across Wyoming and Colorado, you know that it's a ton of snow, and it's not gonna fall any near short of that, right? So a ton of snow, and this is not even just for the Wyoming random areas, because some people may have that perception that Wyoming is all deserted, which is not. But look at that, Denver, right? A highly populated city, heavy snow, breezy, a ton of snow as well, potentially up to 24 inches as well. In terms of the rain, severe weather, look at that. We have a tornado watch, issued right now across the lower hand of the panhandle of Texas. We have one tornado warning that is warned. It'll probably be over by the time I'm done releasing this video, but you can see right there, there's that there's that cell, very strong, powerful, and if you're to look at it, look at that warning. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. All right, well, weather spotters confirmed tornado, so that means that it's there. It's been dissipating, so that's still a threat, and this will probably continue through the next couple of days. And look at that, all those flood watches and warnings. Okay, let's go back to the models and see what's to come. All right, so this is the HERN model. This is a pretty good model. It tells us what's going to happen across the next several hours. If you want to know the time, here it is, 1 p.m. So this is a bit outdated in a sense that it is a few hours old. Right now we are at around 5-6, right, depending on when this video will be released. You can see that's kind of where those supercells or stronger thunderstorms, potentially with a tornado, are developing across Texas. And the HERN model did a really good job of that. Notice as we push this forward, we have this spinning cyclone that is came off the coast of California. There was some confusion because there was 2 vortexes, right? Or 2 systems. It's really the one that came on shore. There was another one that was already there for a few days. That one is playing a role, but it's not as big as the new one. As you can see, we start seeing these clusters of showers and storms just raid Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri on throughout most of the night. And then look what happens here, right? We start seeing a bit of a break, it seems. Maybe the system's not going to happen. Where is it, right? Well, look at this. Tomorrow morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, March 13th. And look at that. Look what we have here. we just start seeing loads and loads of precipitation getting swarmed up into Colorado, right? Wyoming. We do still see some remaining showers and storms across the Ozarks and southern Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas area, but that will be dissipating. I do apologize. That's the phone ringing. Notice that where the activity really starts to gear up is across western portions of Kansas, Nebraska, and obviously in Colorado and Wyoming is where the extremely heavy snow will be falling. And yes, by tomorrow morning, it will be pretty much falling citywide across Denver and areas in between. Notice that 10, right, 11, we see a huge pump of moisture push into Colorado, Wyoming. I mean, I would not be surprised to see people pick up our locations 6 to 7 inches in just this first thud of snow right there. As this system is extremely powerful, pretty much thunderstorms getting converted directly into rain, into snowfall. So thunder snow will be most definitely possible. The winds will be fierce, and look at that. We start seeing a very powerful line of storms developing. To be quite honest with you, a concern. And this is 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Definitely a tornado concern and some severe thunderstorms will be possible. And look at that. We see kind of like this spin for a while across Wyoming, Colorado, right? And even into portions of Arizona and New Mexico, some little showers and storms going in. Look what happens to that cold front. It expands very quickly. It's a vertically stacked, so it has a ton of room to grow. And we go through like several waves. You can see right there kind of weakens. Here it intensifies, and all along this late Saturday, early Sunday time frame, Wyoming is getting pounded. Colorado may take a break. You can see after this main system kind of passes through. Still quite some heavy snow pivoting through the mountains. And then as we push this into early Sunday morning, look at that. We see widespread rain now pushing into Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. Look at that. Now the snow starting to transition into the panhandle of Nebraska, South Dakota. And the latest trends with this system for the past few days, as I haven't made a video in the last few days, was to kind of shift that heavy, very heavy snow a bit further westward. So earlier it was thought that maybe Nebraska, even North Platte, could see some very heavy snow. Now that has shifted quite a bit to the west, but you can see a lot of rain nonetheless. And just look at some of these locations, say central or just western Kansas, right? You're seeing rain right now. You've already seen rain, and just an absolute massive cold front develops. And this eventually does move in further to the north, where models start splitting up quite a bit. In other words, the disagreement is rather high for a system that's not that far out across what's going to happen across the Midwest. Look at the snowfall amounts. Ridiculous, right? Yeah, I know the West, the mountains are used to seeing heavy snow, but the National Weather Service, made it pretty clear this type of snow hasn't happened potentially ever. You can see those colors right there, those kind of gray-white areas. That's almost, reaching 40, 48 inches. I wouldn't be surprised to see some 50-inch amounts, to be honest, whatsoever. Denver, again, I would say possibly up to a foot, foot and a half, though the National Weather Service thinks it will be more, which probably is going to be the case. And I was just saying the foot, foot and a half based on this model, which is just one model. Let's take a look at a high-res model, but just a bit further out. So it takes us a bit further out. Instead of 48 hours, it takes us out to 84. So you can see there's our system, right? Extremely heavy snow, very heavy rain, and look what happens. It starts shifting to the north and east very slowly. Does bring snow to Nebraska, South Dakota, into Iowa. Like Des Moines could potentially see a burst of very heavy snow, and potentially even areas like Chicago, even southern Wisconsin could see some snow. It will be weakening, and a lot of models disagree, but this is a pretty reasonable scenario, and you can see it kind of dissipates. Almost nothing comes of it, and a lot of areas of scattered storms and showers will be forming, and you can see another system's moving on. This will be another system to watch for the Wednesday, Thursday time frame. So very active. In terms of total snowfall through the entirety of this event, according to this model, pretty good amounts, even far as Iowa and Illinois. But look at those, just staggering snowfall totals. So that's the RGEM, right? That's one high-res model. Let's take a look at the NAM 12KM. This is what it thinks. Again, this model tends to have a cold bias, so these amounts are definitely overdone, especially this far to the south. But it does show that eastward expansion of that snow, again, focuses the heaviest right there across Wyoming and Nebraska, which I think it's underdoing some of those amounts right there, to be honest with you. I do want to also tell you that the rain will be very heavy. And you can see how it's kind of a broad area of heavy rain. The thing is that this most likely will be, in some places, very isolated of high amounts. You saw those thunderstorms, and, under a thunderstorm like we saw right there, that tornado, that could drop alone 1 to 2 inches of rain within a matter of an hour, right? So there'll probably be a few pockets that pick up a ton of rain, a few that pick up a bit less, but overall a large rainmaker. Let's take a look at some global models. Canadian, this is what it shows in terms of rainfall, in terms of total snowfall. Pretty similar to what the RGEM was showing. You can see it extends some pretty good amounts into Illinois, Iowa, southern Minnesota. Some models bring it as far north as Minneapolis. Others do not. At this point, I would say this is favored from the National Weather Service perspective. Though, again, this is just one model. Look at those amounts. Again, very, very high. This is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, which some of this may be falling at a higher ratio, which is why these snowfall totals may be a bit higher than some of these models are showing. GFS, right? The long-time favorite, I wouldn't say favorite, long-time model of just in the weather community. Look at that, decent snow stripe across Iowa, Illinois, quite a bit across Dakota as well, South Dakota, Nebraska. I think these amounts will be a bit higher than what they're showing here, and just really showing over 60 inches right there in the GFS. So that may be on the extreme side of things. But in terms of accumulated precip, you can see that's actually good news. They are pretty dry, and snow's the best for droughts, as it doesn't just wash away. It kind of absorbs into the soil, and most of the western United States right now is under a horrendous drought. So they'll take anything they can get, even if it's a crippling snowstorm. That may be a bit too much of a good thing. And you can see in the long range, as we push this forward, I just wanted to demonstrate that an active pattern is gonna be ongoing, and a snow threat could be spreading to different places in the United States. So yeah, I don't think we're anywhere close done with winter, especially across the northern United States. People always, after experiencing the first 60 and 70 of the year, are like, winter's over. Fortunately, the 60s and 50s often feed into the terror that we call these spring snowstorms. Let me show you how much snowfall the National Weather Service thinks will fall across the entire United States. This is a cool feature. It displays how much snow they're predicting across the United States map. And notice, right, that we start seeing the heavy snow already today fall across Utah, and then into tomorrow, obviously spreading across Colorado. And just through the 78-hour time frame, notice a ton of snow. And if we were to zoom in on this, which we will in just a second, we'll see some of these locations are expected to see some horrendous amounts of snow. They're not showing as much here. Again, this could go either really significantly downwards or upwards in snowfall amounts, and also in the sense of the region that could be impacted. There's a lot less confidence. This snow band could end up orientating itself further to the north or further to the south. And, the intensity of the snow could go up or down. And how far eastward. So that's a bit still iffy. This section is already hard enough with all the stuff we have going on. Let's take a look at a more isolated region where we could take a better look at this. I want to find a Wyoming on here. Wyoming, Colorado, I don't know if they have those options. There we go. There's Colorado. Okay, let's take a look at Colorado first. And notice that we see a ton of snow, even for the populated areas like Denver. Right there, 20, 18, a lot of snow. Those gray colors, that's indicative of, potentially up to 30, 40 inches of snow. 31 right there for Cheyenne. So that's quite a ridiculous amount of snow. Definitely good news, though. It maybe not the best news for most folks, as the snow is snow and they don't like that. But in terms of long term, I think the storm will do more good than bad. Hopefully. I don't want to jinx that. I don't want to see like a news story that says a certain percentage of livestock in Colorado and Wyoming got wiped out from this system. That will obviously be bad, but if precautions are taken and people prepare, this could do more good than bad with the precip that it brings. I want to take a look at Wyoming. For some reason, can't find it. I forgot that it's alphabetical. All right. And notice that this is just a bit to the north, same forecast. And look at that. Look at that color right there. Obviously, that's higher elevated, so few folks live in those. There's this stereotype, Wyoming is pretty abandoned in terms of population. It does have a minimal population compared to other states, but in these elevated areas, there's few people that reside there. But notice they do reside there nonetheless. Very, very high amounts. Right there, I would say that's the National Weather Service is flirting with forecasting up to 60 inches, which is that's an interesting estimate, right? And notice Cheyenne, 31 inches, which again could be a record for those locations. All right, so I showed you what the National Weather Service thinks. I showed you what the models show, and you can see this is the European, a trusty model, right? Wait, I don't think I showed you the Euro. I don't think I did. All right, this is the European, right? So we have that system erupting. This is tomorrow at around 6 p.m. This is 12, so midnight. This is 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. 12 o'clock, notice extremely bad conditions across the west. Really, Wyoming, obviously, Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota. Very strong cold front. Again, the biggest concern for severe weather will be tomorrow in the evening at around 7, 8 o'clock. And notice that this cold front kind of spreads and does dwindle quite a bit according to the Euro as it spreads into Illinois. And the system pretty much dissipates, but it does give birth to a new one. And you can see that one could also bring some snow, quite a bit of rain, especially for the Northeast with that one. So something to watch for. In terms of total snowfall, according to the Euro, which again is a pretty good model, you can see it does show decent amounts in some of those locations, well over 40 inches. I would say that people always want to ask me, which family of ensembles do I think has a better grasp on this? And surprisingly, to most situations, I think the GFS ones have the better handle on it. And I'll show you in just a second what I mean by that. The ensembles are less all over the place for the GFS family than the European ones. So, it's some systems are better by the GFS family and some are better forecasted by the Euro. So this is the GFS version 16. Notice it does show quite a bit here. I think that may be a bit overdone, but again, this system is powerful, as you can see right there, leaving some locations with up to 60 inches. Cheyenne with this forecast would be probably at around 40 inches. Nebraska, Colorado, 20, 26 inches. Definitely a good event, and in the future you can see that GFS version 16 does advertise for some additional snow. Does not take us through 384 hours, just through the next 10 days, a bit over 10 days. So that is that. And Kuchera, if you're interested in Kuchera, you can see these amounts do go up quite a bit, which may be a bit overdone, but again, 70, 80 inches in extreme elevated areas, I would not say is unlikely. All right, let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center. All right, so this is the Storm Prediction Center. Pretty much, if you don't know what this is where they calculate the severe weather risk. How bad could it get? What's to come next, and all that type of stuff in terms of severe weather. Okay, this is what they show for today. Right, I think, for Friday. Again, centering that panhandle area of Texas and into Oklahoma, that's where the highest risk for severe weather is. The biggest risk is actually for tornadoes. And, sorry, I wasn't looking at that right. This is the risk for tornadoes, this is for wind, and this is for hail. So you can see that hail is the biggest threat. That's usually the case. I second guess myself there because it's not often that tornadoes are the biggest threat. It's possible, but not often. Tomorrow, we could see there's an enhanced. I would not be surprised to see a moderate potentially across these locations. It's definitely, regardless of what they issue, it's still something to watch for. Tornadoes, you could see 8 to 10%. So, there's some cities included in that, larger populated areas. Wind, you could see pretty decent, and hail is pretty significant. And, if this pushes into the 45 percentile, that could be enough for them to issue that moderate risk. And then notice that for Sunday, this shifts a bit further to the east, and it's definitely still there. So they just have the probabilistic issued there. Notice they have mesoscale discussions, all talking about this. This is a great website if you don't know what this is and never been on here. Talks all about tells you all you need to know about the severe weather. And you can see there it's clear. Slight risk of severe thunderstorms is forecast today or tonight, which isn't awfully high, but again, a severe thunderstorm is a severe thunderstorm, and if you get one, you're probably going to experience some not fun weather. So a slight risk is already a risk that's a bit too high. So if you recall, I told you that the European ensembles are a bit less organized, and look at this, right? So this is 5 days snowfall. And let me run it through. Look how much they disagree on that second part of that system. Some show it further to the north. Some are, consistent. We had a few here that are consistent. Look at that. Some shoot it further to the north. Some keep it across Minnesota. Some bring it further south into Iowa, right? And if I were to take a look at the GFS members, they are a bit more concise and consistent with what they think will be happening. Notice that the GFS ensembles, right? I'm zoomed in on the Illinois, Indiana areas. That's where I was looking at for my location. Let's take a look at the larger Midwest. So there's our first wave, right? A lot of them at this point are agreeing, and it's not going to be occurring that far out. It's a pretty ongoing event already. So you can see confidence is pretty high across the heavy snow for Colorado, Wyoming. But look at that. you could see that second wave, second swath of snow. They're a lot more consistent. We don't have many models showing snow. In fact, I don't think a single one is showing heavy snow across, say, northern Minnesota, North Dakota, unlike the Euro ensembles. And look at that. It's all kind of centering across Iowa, Minnesota. Yes, the intensity varies quite a bit. You could see some bring very light snow, some bring heavier amounts, and further to the south. It's still definitely something we have to get ironed out, but, it's definitely more consistent. So I would say the GFS members have a better handle on this. Okay, guys, so this is a dangerous situation in terms of the snow, in terms of the rain, in terms of the severe weather. So just stay safe and keep an eye to the sky. Keep in touch with the National Weather Service and make sure you can get their updates. And let's just take a look at Cheyenne, or let's take a look at kind of the areas in between, because I think that's where the heaviest snow will fall. Look at the forecast. That's a pretty nasty situation. Look at that, 4 to 8. 10 to 16, probably another 10 to 16 Sunday, and probably another 4 to 8 Sunday night. The blizzard warning and winter storm warning, there's 2 of them. You could see of 20 to 29 inches. You don't see that really all that often, those such high amounts. And for a large populated city like Denver, there is also a lot of snow coming your way. You're not going to get just 6 inches. You could get that in a matter of hours, right? 3 to 7, 5 to 9, probably another 5 to 9 between Sunday and Sunday night. And the winter storm warning calls for how much snow? 12 to 24, which is quite a big range, but so much it could vary. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. See ya.